Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Wednesday, August 10th. I'm Jason Fulmer, SC Russell, and we are talking Fat and Scrappy's 5A preseason rankings. So, what you'll find in the rest of this is basically a short section on how Lucas came up with his general numbers of ranking everyone. And then the last, obviously, 15 minutes or so of this is a breakdown of the top 10, looking at 5A. So I hope you enjoy it. You will notice that as we go along, I think Lucas gets further and further away from me, closer and closer to the edge of the camera, probably because we were shooting it just the two of us and weren't 100% sure whether we were in the frame or not. But I kept leaning in, which probably caused him to lean a little bit away. So anyway, it's still a great conversation. We have a lot of fun talking about 5A, which looks like it's going to be lights out. So I hope you enjoy it, and see you later. Welcome to 6 Minutes. I'm Jason Fulmore, SC Russell, and today here with Fat and Scrappy's Lucas DeSilva.
Welcome.
Welcome
to my home, actually. So welcome
Yes.
here, welcome to my home.
We are breaking down the rankings, really early rankings.
Really, really early.
right.
Kind of calling my shot really early here, but
All right, so these will be the team rankings, and what we'll do is we'll go with, after this video, I'll add a different video talking about specific classifications. But we're opening this classification, or opening this video, and opening all the videos with a general methods, right?
Explanation.
How in the world, because Lucas doesn't do duels and tournament rankings, he does one ranking, and for some reason he's using decimal points. I mean, I didn't know Lucas knew decimal points.
I don't. You ask my math teachers. I don't. I'm not very prolific with them. But so what's funny about this is this is a great storytelling because the viewer knows what video they're watching. We don't. They could be watching 3A for all we know. But
that's right. They could
anyway, so basically the way I do this is I look at a team we'll look at a case randomly, Buford. I'll give them a score for duels at a 5 with decimal points, and I'll give them a score at a 5 for individual with decimal points based on their performances, their lineup, and as the season goes on, these scores will fluctuate. So this is going to be a fluid list. This is currently going into the season with what we know. 5 points is the maximum for duels, 5 points is the maximum for individual. Put those two together, you get their power score out of 10.
Okay.
And then it's just pretty simple, high score in 1, so on and so forth.
Now, can two teams, say Camden and Buford, both get a 4.9?
Yes.
Both get a 4.8, or whatever the case is?
So the way I think it is, when it comes to duels...
So it's not like you get a certain points for first and second and third.
No. Like if you're in duels and you're beating most teams by 45, 50, if you're just dominating teams, you're going to get a 5. There could be 3 or 4 teams. In fact, I think I have 4 teams in my list across the 7 classes that got a 5 in duels. I think there's 4 of them, if I remember correctly. So it just kind of depends on... It's relativity mainly, based on how they do against, their competition.
Okay, all right. So we're going to now jump into one of the classifications. Hope you enjoy it. And
which one is it?
Yeah. All right, we are here for the 5A rankings, and as Lucas just said to me off camera, his favorite.
This is probably my favorite class in the state because so much turnover, so much difference in not only the powerhouses, but in the depth of this class. We've seen some movement.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump right to the bottom 5 of the top 10. And here are our number 10 through number 6, Dalton, Harris County, McIntosh, Cambridge, and Greenbrier. Mm-hmm. All right, so tell me a little bit about how you came up with those bottom 5.
So this is one of those weird classes where Greenbrier was kind of secure in their spot in that bottom 5. They were going to be there. Cambridge and down, 5A has just this wealth of depth in the where you got teams that didn't make it, like Coffee, you got Union Grove, you have a Northside Columbus. That you go north and you're looking at teams like Clark Central, Eastside, Cartersville, who always seems to find ways to bang, Kell, GAC. 5A has become a class where you have some of the top teams in the state.
Right.
And then you also have this weirdly like mixed in depth, and Dalton rounding out the bottom of the 10 at 4.4. Then you have Harris County 4.1, just 1 point ahead of them. McIntosh and Cambridge tied at 5.2, 0.2 behind Greenbrier at 5.4. To me, those are all super changeable rankings. That could be 1 week, all of a sudden they have 2 or 3 individuals looking really good, and all of a sudden those rankings change.
Or the emergence of an individual, or, somebody is injured or
Whatever
something else happens, grades or whatever the case is, and we can see a shift very quickly.
Let me tell you something. That bottom 5 will change. I don't know in what way, shape, or form. Up, down, left, right. Who knows? There could be a late challenge to go down to another classification. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised with GHSA knowing them. Anything could happen, especially in that range of ranks from 6 to 15 to me are super fluid and can change at the drop of a dime. So that's why that specific part of these rankings is super, super fun to me. And you look at a school like Dalton, new coaching staff, a staff with some real accolades behind them. Former Iowa wrestler, I forget the dude's name for the life of me because I only just heard about it a couple days ago, but that's important. You look at a team like Dalton, there is no more Hunter Noland and the crew that was there when I was in high school. But this is a new group, a younger group that is hungry. You look at Harris County and the crew. They had Tucker Kinsaw. Now, again, younger, more... There's a lot of youth in 5A that I'm fascinated by as we go into the season.
Well, and historically, Cambridge and Harris County have been there. They, and you got Hunter Keene at Cambridge. You've got kids. But 2 of the teams that kind of maybe new would be Greenbrier and McIntosh.
Yeah, they slipped into the top 10. When I looked at both their lineups, they both return a good bit. They have coaching staffs that have been around the block. They know how to win duels when they're equatable. They know how to compete, and I just really like what I see out of the guys out of McIntosh and Greenbrier. It's one of those teams where some of that ranking was off feeling, and yes, it's not as an exact science in some of these spots, and that's across the state, that there are certain rankings that I looked at, I saw the number, and I was like, one way or another, the number felt wrong. And I admit it, there were some feel, and McIntosh and Greenbrier, to me, outside looking in, as an observer, I like what I see out of them. I think that they have a really good shot this year to have some really solid years.
Now, there is a gap between your number 6 team and number 5 team and that top 5. So do you feel that the top 5, maybe they're not set exactly being 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but you think they're going to be in some order in that top 5?
Yes, I think at least this season, the way it stands, these 5 teams will be battling for the 4 trophies in both duels and individual. That's at least how I see it. Could a team like a Greenbrier, a Cambridge, or somebody all the way new just come out of the blue and make a run? Perhaps, but just currently the way I view it, I think these 5 are pretty secure in their spot in that top 5.
And number 5, we've got Woodland.
Woodland, Carsville.
Now, Woodland, not only do they lose Henson and Cochran, but Traumatola has now stepped down, and we really have a 180-degree different looking Woodland team than what we had 3 years ago.
And this is where Woodland is so fascinating to me, because you would assume that because of what I just said, they would be super secure in what they have. To me, Woodland is the team that if one of these teams is going to fall out of the top 5, it's going to be Woodland, and that's not the fault of theirs. They're super young, new staff aboard, but the thing with their young depth is you've been cultivated by a Caleb Henson, by a Cole Cochran, by a Jackson Smith and McCrary in years past.
Right.
So there's almost this feeling that winning is the only option for Woodland. So
the expectation certainly is there.
And when you breed wrestlers in that kind of an environment, their mentality is different. And mentality is a super big part of the sport, as you, the viewer, may know. So to me, Woodland just has the intangibles down pat. It's the intangibles of a winning team for Woodland are second nature.
Well, and not only that, don't get me wrong. We are talking. We just listed a bunch of names of people who have graduated, but they do bring Hayden Santora,
obviously,
other kids back who have experience.
Oh, for sure.
But now they have they're not the role players.
No,
they need to assume the
a guy like
responsibility.
Hayden Santora, you're now looking around and you know when a duel was going awry, you were able to look at a Caleb Henson, a Cole Cochran.
Right. It's
now
now
Hayden,
you.
now you, and that's not a diss. That is an
honor.
Yes, it should be. I mean, I remember when at Collins Hill, it started to become that way for me, my sophomore, junior year, where I was like, okay, no, I need to change the momentum now, and it's humbling, and it should be giving you goosebumps. And that's where a guy like Hayden, that you've been in that environment already of championships, that's gonna come to him, and he should. And I believe he's going to rise to the occasion. I'm super high on Hayden Santora, as I believe a good amount of people are in the state. Because dude can bang with the best of them. So, Woodland, a very interesting and very... Could we call them... not explosive. I'm losing the word. But
vocabulary.
Yes.
And math. Not really Lucas's strength.
You know what? You know what? I have a very solid use of syntax most of the time, but on the spot.
Oh, you use the word syntax.
Yeah, exactly. So a fangul. Anyways.
All right, number 4, Flowery Branch.
Flowery Branch.
And you know, a good team.
Yes, a good
right.
team.
I mean, led by a superstar.
Yes.
Right.
Led by a kid who I see a lot of myself in, and that's Seth Larson, and I mean that in the best way possible. He's a gamer. You put him in the big moment, he's not going to crumble. He's going to go at it. I mean, he went to Elite 8 and scrapped his head off of 3 weeks freestyle practice.
Right.
The kid can bang with the best of them, and he is man number 1 on that team. Yes, the coaching staff, Waters leaving, a change in the staff. But they still keep most of their guys. They didn't graduate a lot last season, so the 14 will look very similar. And when you get a guy like Seth Larson individual, where you know in all likelihood he's going to score you the points you need on the individual side of it, you kind of have some breathing room along the back.
It certainly helps.
Yeah, it's a big help when you know at least in one spot, okay, we know what we're getting there 99.9% of the time.
All right, your number 3 team, one of kind of my favorite teams that I've grown to kind of love to watch and that sort of thing is Ola.
Yes, the Ola Mustangs.
Because they come in and they've got superb talent on that team. But they are a blue collar, pick up your lunch pail and go to work, right? This is that team.
Oh, for sure.
And the next group of Ola wrestlers are ready to step in for Sam Harris. Yeah. And they're ready to step in and take it. Plus, they still have hammers on that team.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Ola is in a very fun position as a team because you look at the 2 ahead of them and you think it's out of reach. And bold call from me here, and I'm probably going to catch some flack for this, as if I'm so, unopinionated. Ola can make a run here at one of those top 2 trophies.
I agree.
They could. If
I don't think that's a bold prediction at all.
I think it is with the 2 teams who are ahead of them. People might assume that they're outside looking in, looking for a third.
I don't know, man. Then the reason I say that, and again, these aren't my rankings. These are Fat and Scrappy's rankings. But I firmly believe that. I mean, all you had to do was watch Ola last year, like with Woodward and Woodland and and Cass and that entire group. They're there. They were with those teams and could beat any of those teams.
Yes.
So
they were right there outside looking in, and now it's... While the point is 1.1 difference between them and second place, they are in a comfortable third, 1.1 ahead of the 4th place Flowery Branch Falcons. I could see Ola making some real heavy movement in these rankings. And Ola's a team that I just like you, love watching them get after it. They are a incredible group. That environment, that community is so behind the Ola Mustangs, and it's just fun to watch.
Well, and the same thing could be said for your number 2 team, and that is Jefferson, because their community is all about Jefferson. And Jefferson, I was going through the history of Georgia wrestling. I think they have more state titles than any other team in the state.
The only one I think will compare them is Commerce.
So
Commerce did have a 20-year run there.
Jefferson Coach Baird has a great program going.
Obviously.
Has, Creed Thomas and has Dendy and has just hammers. Chaz McDonald. I mean, all the way through.
You beat me to saying Chaz.
So now...
Luke Cochran.
Right. Luke Cochran. So now... But you've got them second. And, this is probably a pretty motivated Jefferson crew.
Yes.
After they didn't win it last year. But they are sitting behind a super talented team.
In Cass,
so,
yeah. By point 2. And it was a similar thing to Buford and Camden in 7A, where Jefferson had a 5, I believe. No, they had a 4.9, in duels, and then like a 4.8 individual. Like, it broke out where Cass had a 4.8 in both, and they just edged them by 2. But that point 2 can change on a dime. Like, I could wake up tomorrow and flip those two if I really wanted, and it's believable, because they are both incredible teams, incredible coaching staffs, built to win and win now. I just am normally going to favor the returning champion than than a champion on the rise coming up.
All right. So, one of the things I like about the 3 teams at the top as well, with Cass, Jefferson, and Ola, is that they don't shy away from anybody. They go to every tournament. They compete against the best around, and I think we'll know pretty early in the season, like, what we think of whether you're right or you're wrong.
Which I very well could be wrong here, by the way.
I think we'll know pretty early.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I completely agree with that. And I think, actually, if the season's going to map out the way it probably will, these teams will see each other. And they'll see each other pretty early.
Right.
Like, and then you also have the knockout, where we know for sure we'll see Cass and Jefferson there.
Right.
There's a possibility Flowery Branch returns.
That's right.
You'll see Woodland there, possibly. So there's a real possibility that at the knockout, we're going to see 6 of the top 10 in 5A there banging it out. And if that's the case, we'll get a real good look at Christmas time of, okay, how's this going to break out come February?
A little popcorn action.
Oh, for sure. Popcorn. Absolutely. Bro, get the popcorn and the Bunch of Crunch at that point. Hell.
The what?
Bunch of Crunch.
I don't know what that is.
What? Have you never been... If you've been to a movie theater, you know what the Bunch of Crunch is. It's, the Crunch candy bar?
Yeah.
It's little balls of it. It's so
I don't know what he's talking about. But I don't know what he's talking about most of the time, so we're good.
Yes, because is that any different than normal? It's me.
Thank you for tuning in for 5A. Like Lucas said, it is one of the most interesting one of the most interesting classifications.
Yes, for sure.
The top 5 are going to be a lot of fun to watch, definitely. The bottom 5, I think it's going to be the similar type of fight. Those 5 teams, maybe 7 teams, are going to be in the hunt.
Oh, for sure.
But where they end up is going to be really interesting to see.
I think 5A has it is one of the biggest opportunities for a defending champion to be dethroned.
All right.
It's possible in Cass. Now, I'm probably going to get vilified for saying that, but it could happen.
I don't think it. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I mean, Cole Hunt is gone, but boy, the numbers that the individuals that they bring back, the coaching staff, they are dialed in. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely popcorn worthy.
Oh,
right?
for sure. Oh, absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks for tuning in to 5A. You guys take care.
Yes,
See ya.